Hi ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Genshin Impact. It's been a hot minute because, well, it's just Windbloom Festival, harping shit up and honestly falling from the sky. But we have Rosaria right around the corner. Also, I've gotten this. I've gotten this out of the basement, and yeah, I feel like we might need it because y'all need to chill out. Okay, Twitter, everyone, in the comments of this video or this trailer we're watching right now, absolutely. A lot. Just a lot of people popping off in various ways. Ugh. I digress, but ladies and gentlemen, Rosaria is right around the corner, and this was, of course, her trailer. Now, we're going to be going over Rosaria. We're going to be going over Rosaria and doing our best to, like, not piss off Mihoyo, because I'm sure you guys know about it. There's a lot there. There's a lot in terms of the whole drama, leaks happening, hippity happening, and it's just... I don't know. I've talked about it on stream. I may talk about it at the end of the video because no one gives a fuck. Let's talk about Rosaria. First of all, you guys have been seeing the absolutely stellar trailer in the side, and it's just awesome. First of all, everyone fell in love with Dragon Spy. I don't know if they actually did reduce her chest. Frankly, there's a lot there regardless, but also, I get it. Not cool. Oh yeah, all that. But yes, the goth waifu is here, my friends, and yes, she looks... Well, okay, we're going to get into that. She looks... okay, I'm still going to go through and get Rosaria just because I planned it, even though I don't have that much resin, because they just haven't really been giving us that much resin. Also, just the, like... kind of, some of you guys were echoing this in my stream a couple days ago, but basically guys were saying Mihoyo is like doing their best to make a shit ton of money, and how they do that is by making it so that you never have enough resources or primo gems to actually buy the newest character, so that way you're incentivized to be like, oh, I didn't have enough primo gems just to have it, so I need to spend money and get her, hopefully, because I already got this pity that's right in front of me, and I could get it. I digress. So yeah, it's just, I'm in that place where, like, I don't even have that many primo gems. Hopefully I'll be able to get at least one of her. You only really need 2 or 3 at the most, and then, or more if you want Razor and whatnot, but we'll see what happens. We're gonna get, she's gonna come out, I'm gonna get her, I'm gonna play with her, see if anything syncs up and really, like, hits. And then I'll invest heavily. Maybe I'm just like, screw it, because we do know, because of the leak weirdness, that there are 2 other characters on the pipeline that look fucking rad. Also, maybe housing, but I hear nothing about nothing. I heard that from a guy, hobo on the corner of the street, talking about anime thoughts. Alright, Canada's a hell of a place. Anyways, alright. So, we're gonna go over her whole kit kind of thing, which, you know, we've done before. Also, mother of God, this is like... I don't know, it's always just super zoomed in. In fact, I'm gonna go hit F11 so we can see, if only a little bit more of the screen, and all of Rosaria. God, she looks so cool. Why did, out of all the characters, you made her a fucking 4-star? Like, what? She looks crazy aesthetic. She's like got the vampire angle. Like, there's so many characters that look pretty goddamn boring, and then there's her who's just like, let's add all of it. But she's a 4-star, which actually is kind of nice because, you know, if it's only 5 stars can achieve this kind of craziness, it'd be a little unfortunate. But I digress. For those guys who are unaware about everything that Rosaria is, she is a polearm user. She's also cryo-based, and her affinity is, of course, Mondstadt, specifically the Church. Alright, I'm gonna read all this, be back. If those guys who did not know, she's a nun. Her speech and actions do not reflect that, that she is a nun, it says. Furthermore, she displays even less reverence towards the gods, and she routinely skips our various church engagements. Yeah, if you look at her trailer that we just were playing, one of the things is she's like, I care less about the gods and more about, like, the human person, like the soul in front of me that needs saving or needs love. Why would I give it to a god when I could give it to someone that the god should be giving the love to, and etc., which is an interesting take. Okay, so they basically give her a lot of shit, but she's never faced consequence for her transgressions. Yeah, Rosaria moves around like a wisp, like a black smoke. Yeah, so it seems like Rosaria is kind of like the I have to do, like, I keep everyone safe, so if you fire me, you're an idiot. I offer so much value that I can be a piece of shit because I'm the one keeping everyone alive in the shadows and whatnot, and I'm the person doing what quote-unquote needs to be done while you can remain all pure and all these other things, which is kind of awesome. Kind of rad. I digress. Listen, disciple, if you've got I don't know why, I hear Johnny, what is the name? Listen, disciple, if you've got a problem you can't handle, then I'm the one for the job. But if you're looking for prayers, you've better find some other sister. Huh? You're not a disciple? All right, yeah. About herself. Me? I'm just another ordinary person. Church worker. I just do what I have to do. All right. What's the whole thing with sleep? You know, I know many women hate the notion of people coming up to them and saying, "You look tired." Honestly, probably a fair frustration, but also Rosaria might stab you in the back. Haha, you want to know about the? Oh, okay, this is Kaya's thoughts. You want to know about the sister Rosaria? That I cannot tell you, though my impression of her is not bad. Certainly better than a certain someone whose name I won't bother to mention. Barbara, maybe? She's honest with herself. She casts off that which she has no time for, and she doesn't feign motivation for affairs that do not interest her. Interesting things about Rosaria. Weird. Okay, so Rosaria, not a big fan of a normal plain life, kind of emo. We get that. We feel that. But dandelions, how could such a simple flower turn into such a delicate wine? Rosaria finds that the glass of dandelion wine after work is better than sleeping in. Yeah, Rosaria is a old lass. She's getting drinking and shit. It's a whole thing. Huh. Also, this is her final tagline: work hard and live each day to the fullest. That's what life in Mondstadt is all about, isn't it? Yeah, I like that. Work hard and live life to the fullest. I also kind of find that a little fucking stupid though, a little bit. Not the work hard part. Work hard part I vibe with. The live life to the fullest. What does that mean? What does that mean? Was it like just live happily? Okay. but I don't know. I feel like live life to the fullest is like, let's jump on the planes. And I'm like, fuck you. I'm not doing shit. You can get away from me. Anyways, talents. Okay, so for those guys again do know, she's a polearm user. Now, if you guys actually check this out, it does look like her basic attack speed is actually quite slow in comparison to other polearm users. Although they do seem to be like excessively wide sweeping. But the combo doesn't actually seem to be that much either. Although it could just be that it seems like it's 4 instead of 6, but it's probably 6, and I'm crazy. Regardless, she performs rapid strikes. Oh, she just lunges forward. Okay, so she just do like the spinny thing. I guess she just does the spinny thing. Regardless, her charge attack is just a lunge. Neat. Same as everyone else's charge attack, more or less, with polearms. Alright, so this is Rosaria's E, or her not alt, whatever you want to call it. Ravaging Confession. Now, we've actually seen what this is. She essentially teleports behind somebody and then does a bunch of cryo damage. She does a slash. But if an enemy is big, then she, I don't think, teleports behind them. That was something that they said. Let's see. She swiftly positions herself behind the opponent and slashes the enemy with a polearm, dealing cryo damage. Rosaria cannot use this ability to move behind large enemies. So I hope it still works. I would just teleport in front of someone and then, and then move on somewhere else. But ladies and gentlemen, this right here is entirely what makes Rosaria kind of nutty. Again, she's to me, again, I would not be absolutely shocked if they buffed her the fuck up the minute she goes live, but she's a 4-star, so maybe they won't do that, but we'll see. But regardless, this is her alt, Rite of Termination, heavy, regardless. Rosaria unleashes Rosaria's unique take on this prayer ritual. First, she swipes the weapon across an enemy, hitting them, and then she summons forth the said weapon and smashes it into the ground, and it pulsates with cryo damage. So she basically summons something, she hits an enemy, I think twice, and then she throws it down on the ground, and it starts pulsating. Yeah, so she hits once, and then it hits on the ground. So there's 2 hits there, and then it pulsates with decently scaling damage. I think like 3,000 to maybe 4,000 is probably what you're gonna see around there, because if some fake website nonsense is to be correct, then it's around 200% when you get up to like 8 or 9. So it's not scaling too hard. But it doesn't. Okay, so this is actually a little sus, because I think they really should have done a much better job about expressing like why. Because people are, yeah, this is stupid, Mihoyo. I'm sorry, but this is really stupid. Like one of the things Mihoyo constantly, it seems like they have a problem with, is people misunderstanding what characters are, and it seems like in the last couple updates they made a point to be like, hey, this character is a main damage dealer. Yeah. Okay, no, it says right here, Rosaria is a damage dealer who can be used multiple ways. She can attack enemies with her various elemental skills, or she can use her elemental burst to deal a dot to surrounding enemies and assist other party members in battle. Yeah, see, to me, this is Mihoyo fucking up, because this is not what Rosaria seems like she does. If the fake website we're about to go look at, or not even look at, I'm going to probably just talk a little bit about, if that is to be believed, then that's not what this is at all. Yeah. Because it like if I didn't know anything about her kit, I would think, oh, she's a damage dealer, right? That's like a big part of her thing, is like her E gonna smash people, right? Her her base melee is gonna be super good, right? Or what about her alt, right? That's gonna be like super smashing damage, right? No, well, it might be. They might change her at the last minute like they did with Genyu. But guys, I'm gonna just replay the trailer, and I'm just gonna talk a bunch of theories and like lies, and like it's just like me coming up with stuff right off the top of my head. I'm not gonna re-say it. It suits what's going down. Anyways, some would say it would make a lot of sense for Rosaria to scale off base attack percentage as we level her up. That'd be convenient, right? That'd be like something to pay attention to. So like you're not gonna invest, so you know you need a certain of one. Okay, the biggest advice I can give you for Rosaria, you probably build her for cryo damage, but build her for as much critical rate as you possibly can, because that is something that is going to be passively, regardless of if she scales good with damage, which I don't think she's going to be the craziest. I think she's going to be okay, but not like a Xiao, not like a Hu Tao. Rosaria might, if I was thinking about it, have a skill that is in her like passive talent tree that is basically, when you activate her alt, every person in your party gets a percentage of her crit rate, which makes her ridiculous in terms of a support DPS. Not only, like, I'm assuming she's not going to be that good for like DPS by itself, but to enable your other DPSs, if you may have them, to amplify, like just to get even like 30% crit or 20% crit rate is amazing. Now we're gonna theory craft about her constellations in a second, but Rosaria does have maybe an issue with her duration. So her alt, the thing that you're going to want to keep on cooldown constantly, has maybe an interesting amount of energy cost, which is maybe 60%, but the duration is 8 seconds and its cooldown is 15 seconds. So that's a pretty big amount of like nothing happening for a while. So, but you're all getting 8% of a crit rate buff, which is good. It's lasting 8 seconds, that crit rate sharing, which is cool. Maybe, if my lies are to be believed. But you're still on cooldown for 15 seconds. But maybe her first two constellations, coming up with this off the top of my head, maybe her first constellation would be when Rosaria deals critical hit damage, her attack speed gets buffed for 10%, pretty decent, and lasts 10 seconds. Also, her normal attack gets increased by 10% as well. So basically a 10% buff for attack speed and attack damage. Cool. Whenever you score a critical rate, which you should have a lot of critical rate on your Rosaria, maybe, unless things just go tits up. Also, maybe this is not who I'm lying. I'm just lying right now. I'm lying to your goddamn face. This means nothing. Her second constellation, if I had the controls, would be that it reduces her alt by 4 seconds. So now you have a significantly greater uptime on her alt, allowing you to have like a couple seconds of not, as long as you're able to, which her E looks like it's going to regenerate a decent amount of particles, so I feel, and also it's on a small cooldown, but her E and whatnot, like she's a 4-star, so her scaling doesn't seem to be excessive. They could change it, who knows, but at least from what I'm seeing, ladies and gentlemen, Constellation 2 is going to be what you're going to want. The Constellation 1 is kind of fine, but Constellation 2 very much makes it feel like it kind of unlocks her fully to be a support DPS kind of character that can like alley-oop you, but also can have one of the most valuable elements in the game, which is cryo, which is huge. So yeah, and the thing that's a little shitty is that her ult is a smaller radius than I would have liked, but otherwise she's a 4-star, so maybe they're like, she can't be this big, or I digress. And if I were to come up with one more thing that I think could be pretty absolutely massive, is that this lady is signed, sealed, and delivered for our boy Razor, because her final constellation, if I had all the cards and I could just make up shit on the spot, which I'm doing right now, I would give her the ability for her ult for any enemy in the radius to have decreased physical resistance by 20%. So if you have Razor Constellation and you get her max Constellation and Razor scratches and she activates her ult, Razor gets a huge amount of crit rate, and also the physical resistance just gets plummeted. And if you have the one Rocker Lady, then that also increases physical resistance. And if you have Zhongli, then that further decreases their resistance. Fuck. It's just crazy. Anyways, there's not a lot of healing on that team, but I digress. Ladies and gentlemen, yes, seems very nice. Seems very good, especially with Razor, which is my favorite boy, best boy Razor. Well, Viventi's pretty great too, but Razor again. I'm just waiting for one attack Gladiator set artifact to drop so that I'm not just in a living nightmare and I can't actually use my boy because Xiao is using him and he's stronger than him because he's a pirate. But yes, my friends, that is Rosaria. I can't, again, with just the weirdness that MiHoYo has, and I guess this is the best place to kind of talk about it to some extent. Also, have I been out of focus this whole time? Maybe. It sucks for me. Anyways, so, just a complaint right off the top that I kind of have with that is that I feel like Rosaria, unless they change her at the last minute, Rosaria seems to be, again, this could all be nonsense. This is the problem with leaks and whatnot. Is that it's all could be changed in the drop of a hat, which is why I've always said, think of this as like just nonsense. But also it's fucking fun to talk about. Anyways, I think it paints Rosaria in a weird picture because it kind of makes Rosaria feel or seem like a damage dealer. I don't think she's going to be a damage dealer like Razor. And I don't think she's supposed to be also. But also I don't think they did a good job about expressing that, no, she's like a damage support is what she is. So she can deal probably some small damage or decent damage, probably better than Xiangling, but she's meant to amplify everyone else's damage, like a Diluc, like a what's her name, the girl who just came out, Hu Tao, exactly. She seems like she's made for Hu Tao and Razor, frankly, because Razor electricity and ice superconduct, lowering their physical resistance, plus her max constellation, plus Razor has no real good way of getting critical rate. You can, in fact, you kind of got to get good with everything else and etc. because you're building them so high for physical damage. Anyways, she seems like she's made for Razor and Hu Tao specifically, because Hu Tao has some downtime and you could switch to her for 2 seconds, activate her E, activate her ult, and then switch back to Hu Tao, and maybe queue up some other abilities like a Xinqiu, who can be huge for the wet status, and that would apply a freeze, which could just basically hard lock enemies, which also sounds great. Anyways, so I'm getting her because she slots in perfectly with Best Boy Razor, as well as Hu Tao, who I'm leveling up and still haven't gotten the right artifact set for. I've spent 3 weeks worth of resin, all of the resin for 3 weeks into Hu Tao, have gotten 1 critical rate decal. I fuck you not. Okay, that is what's gone down. Anyways, it's a nightmare. Anyways. Okay, I'll talk about this right now just because I didn't do it because it just seemed like I don't know. I wanted to think about it a little bit, and also it just seemed like a lot. Essentially, for those guys who missed it, there was a bit of sauce with the Genshin community, and specifically with MiHoYo. Long story short, MiHoYo done goofed, and they released essentially what allowed data miners just to rip apart what Genshin was going to happen in the next couple months. Essentially leaks galore. So MiHoYo made a goof and leaks galore for 1.5 came out. I'm not going to talk about them here because apparently they're real not okay with it. And to me, I am just sitting here like, okay, I have so many thoughts, dude, and they're all going to come out like a mess, but here are some of them. MiHoYo, you have a marketing team, and I get it. But you think your marketing team can be better than the millions in millions of videos that exist on YouTube of people talking about updates when they go live, about new content. When there is a gap in relevancy, YouTubers and leaks are basically like, YouTubers' success is based on the game's success. So they find a way to keep hype flourishing. And one of the ways they do that is by understanding it. Like Reddit's a great example. Reddit uploads memes. Yeah, it's pretty harmless. They speculate about what's to come in the future, and sometimes people fall in love with the idea of something, and then sometimes you have to be the bad guy that says, well, we can't do that. We can't make a crazy WoW level raid boss in this game. Not anytime soon. Sorry if you guys really wanted that. You can't do that. That's something that you as a company have to do. So like, even though the leaks aren't true, people could still really demand this and want this, so that way that just doesn't make sense to me. Like one of the arguments that they had was this creates an unrealistic perception of what's to come. Well, you might have to deal with that just on a passive. Secondly, like the gain of free, and this is my perception, I'm biased for sure, but the gain of free publicity of hundreds of people making, or not hundreds, but just, okay, the best way I can describe this, just as like, because I'm trying to like understand, and I know Mahoyo is not going to see this, but if we're doing this from like a business perspective, if I was trying to like talk to them as a business thing, I would say, okay, take all of the views that came from the leak videos, which you don't like, and maybe you have a valid reason not to like. Maybe it upends your marketing team's ability to advertise and to build hype. Sure. So now we have all those videos, we have all those views, we have everything. Now let's take all of those, all that gain, and let's see what your marketing team can do. Not to say that your marketing team is not the best. Your marketing team is fantastic. The whole like Twitch interactive and live things are amazing. But now let's look at it from another perspective as well. Say Mahoyo, one of the things that they did was that they said that they just want to have like their developer updates. So you know how like Paimon and like Main Traveler and then a random guest, usually probably will be Child next. Or no, not Child, but if it was Venti. Regardless, that like kind of like hour long, here's what's coming in 1.4. That comes out, first of all, that comes out a week or 2 weeks before the update goes live. So we have this huge block of like random tiny events that like people are starting to die out on the game because the events aren't suiting their fancy or they're not enough. So they start dying down, and then you want people to not speculate at all in this time period, and then instead, just for this, like you're only like basically you're trading up so much like months and months of hype for a week of hype before the update goes live. I think that's a bad idea. I think so many people in this period are gonna just die off, like they have been in this Balloon Rite Festival, where people are like, yeah, it's fun to fucking strum on some stupid harp, but also, what is this? what are we doing? I like it, but it's like fucking what's next? I'm just like, One of the things that's equally something that to take note of is how you react to how your community reacts. So there's a lot of content creators, and this is something that I've heard from a lot of different people, but a lot of content creators kind of have this judgmental perception of other content creators within Genshin. And why I think it's fundamentally flawed is maybe you don't like leaks, okay? Fair. Maybe you're just like, you know what, it spoils it for me, okay? I'll just don't look at it, but sure, maybe that's a fair argument. Then there's other people who are like, well, I don't like leaks because of XYZ reason, or I don't like when people use this thumbnail for this because it's that. I agree with the thumbnail option. That's not cool. If you want to, don't put a leaked character in the thumbnail because people can't hide or walk away from it. I digress. On the topic of content creation on YouTube, when it comes to Genshin, you cannot like content, but to think that YouTube works in this weird way where you steal viewers is fundamentally wrong. It is not true. How YouTube works, the analytical game, the back end of YouTube is you have Genshin as a entity, as a tag. Every single time viewers come into that land, the sidebar of YouTube, the autoplay feature, the everything will auto link to another type of video that is tagged within the Genshin thing, because YouTube says, you like Genshin, we're going to give you more Genshin, and therefore it feeds more people into the game that maybe wouldn't have gotten into it anyway. Like how many people got into Genshin because they seen a leaked character name trending on Twitter? that otherwise would not have been like, what the fuck is this? Why is this trending? Why is this important? Oh, there's an anime thing. I like anime. What's this game? It's free. Fuck it. I'll give it a try. Hey, I'm watching YouTube videos because I'm trying to advance in the game now. Hey, I came here to watch this new character that's gotten released. But hey, now I need to know how. Now I'm in the community. Now I'm gonna watch everybody else's stuff as well. People don't just sit here and only watch this one thing. They get pulled in, and then they basically circulate around the community. The idea that like other people are stealing your views from shitty content is just fundamentally wrong about how the system works. It's not like I get mine, you can't get yours. It's like, no, you pull someone into an environment and it's an ecosystem where they bang around and they jump around a ton and they have their favorites, but nevertheless they still go and see everything. So the idea of shitty content being rewarded is fundamentally not true, because it gets them in the door where they otherwise wouldn't have got in. I say this as a person who hasn't fucking throttled the whole leak content. At best, I go on Honey Hunters, and whenever this goes live, and I go over their speculated stats. So I think that's fundamentally wrong as well. The notion of like how like leakers are the worst scum of the earth. I do think it's not okay for leakers to put leaked characters in thumbnails, because that takes away the choice of everybody else, and that's not alright. That is a fundamental problem, and I think that is a good rule going forward for anyone who does do this stuff to not do this. And I said this on my stream, and this is the best way I can kind of summarize my thoughts on the whole leaking thing, and how MiHoYo is just like, nope, how dare you, we're gonna smack you down if you do this. My thought is, okay, I mean, well, first of all, it's a little shitty, because it's like, okay, let's see how, I wish I had a time machine where I could go back and be like, okay, no more leaks, just be real cruel in your pursuit of locking this down, MiHoYo, which you were already suing people and whatnot. Let's be real, like, militant and just evil about this, and let's see if you're like, what is it, 1 hour dev stream would be enough to completely upend the whole community. Okay. And then I say, currently now, first of all, I don't think it would have been as crazy. I think there is a fundamental huge thing with leaks and hype building and everything, and that's been existing in every video game ever. And I feel like it's a subset of the marketing team within the MiHoYo / the people who make Genshin, who were like, this is ruining all of our plans. But it's like, yeah, you could look at it that way, or you could look at it like, we're getting free marketing. This whole thing is getting free marketing. What the shit? Anyways, I digress. What I said on stream was basically, okay, MiHoYo wants to do the whole like locking down leaks and leaking and stuff like that. Okay. Be super evil by it. Don't let a single leak get through. Any YouTube video that has any sort of like, hey, we haven't announced this, we like, you know, showing gameplay, and I'll just smash it down immediately. Yeah, okay. Simply put, okay, let's see how this plays out. Yeah, okay. That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, all right, let's see in the next couple years, or next couple months, if there is as much hype and whatnot. With that being said, though, Inazuma could come out, and that would be a huge just steroid to the game. But let's see what happens with these next couple patches. Now, unfortunately, leakers are relentless, especially now that MiHoYo has been a dick about it. Leakers are gonna fuck this game up because they were told that you wanna try to not have this happen. Ugh. It's a bad time. So we probably will never get to see this outcome. The Reddits and everything will still always have the leaks there. But my thing is, okay, so then YouTube people don't get to make the leak content anymore. All right, the thousands and thousands of views on those videos, which re-engage your audience and re-establish hype, gone. Okay. All right. No, I'm probably wrong. I'm wrong. Let's see how the story ends. I'm pretty certain how it will happen, but at the same time, I also don't. Genshin is on this winning streak for a long time now, and I doubt that it will fail, because it's kind of impossible to fail right now. I like it's made $2 billion. Unless they're just hemorrhaging money, it's not going to happen. But I do think another thing that I have a little slight frustration with Genshin is just the notion of, like a person mentioned this recently that I agree with, which is MiHoYo hasn't been building value in Genshin really. They have, like, every update comes and goes. Like Genshin as an entity itself only has Dragonspine and 2 new bosses, Child and then the new one thing, and like a little bit more story. But it's like Genshin hasn't been building on top of its value. Instead, it seems like MiHoYo completely shifted their effort into, instead of making a bigger and greater game, instead it seems like they're making more characters. and constantly pushing that through. Like, characters are the content right now, and oh boy, it's a gacha game and they're already making billions, but why not make more? Because more. I don't know. I digress. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been us talking about Genshin Impact. I'm also talking about Rosaria. Very hyped. Also is my thoughts on the whole drama thing. My whole thing about the whole drama thing, about like people talking about what is good content and whatnot. I think is fundamentally flawed about how the system of YouTube works, but also about how if your content is truly better, then why are you so afraid? Why not let the person who supposedly has bad content get them in the door, and then take them when they've truly realized what is good content, right? I mean, if you want to have an ego trip and say your content, or you're the arbiter of what is good and bad, then absolutely. But even if through that ends, that makes sense to let them have their weird playtime. Yeah. Anyways, and then on the drama again, I just think, okay, let's see how this story ends. I'm almost certain it'll be in a negative way, and let your marketing team do what they're gonna do. Sure. I think there has been so many examples in the past that marketing teams specifically leak stuff because it is free marketing, and that's the best okay. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I could be dead ass wrong. I'll still play within the bubble you've given me. Of course, I'm not trying to shit on anyone's dreams. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not trying to have an ego trip and say that I 100% am correct in this endeavor. I just think with my information that I understand, and as I understand it, that's why I think the way I do. But again, if you don't want to show or talk about leaks and whatnot, or show leaks, it seems like you can still like refer slightly to like there was a leak there was a leak breach that happened basically, and as long as you're not showing gameplay, I think you're still okay. But please, Mahoya, fucking cement what you're allowed to do, if that is the case, because so many content creators are like, wait, this guy said the name, but he didn't show any gameplay. Am I okay? Or is that the line? I don't know. So that's kind of the hell that content creators are in right now, which is just making it incredibly, incredibly hard to talk about anything, really. And also, or just, okay, so like people could be like, well, they just don't talk about leaks. Okay, then we're talking about nothing. Then there's nothing to talk about. Okay, great. And then people are like, well, then just make goofy content. Okay, then everyone's just making nonsense goofy content, and then it just becomes oversaturated with goofy content, and then nobody watches that goofy content. It just, guys, you really don't know how an ecosystem works at all. Like, fuck me dead. Like, Jesus Christ. If you're like, okay, don't do that, then everyone's gonna do that, and then you're no longer gonna be the only person doing. I'm over it. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoy the rest of your day. I have no ill will towards this game, Mahoyo, or any content creator out there. I just have, of course, my lived experience, my understanding of how things work, and I could be dead ass wrong. I'm not here to have an ego trip or to shout from the rafters that I'm 100% correct. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm gonna hear your opinion, all that lovely stuff. But bottom line, hype for Rosaria. Oof, God, she looks good. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, thank you kindly. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your day, and goodbye.